Hey guys, want to see some idiots? Of course you do, and I've got a nice quickie to share with you today. But first, let me provide a little bit of info for those of you not in the loop. A few days ago, James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, posted a video on the Cinemassacre channel where he laid out all the reasons he won't be reviewing the new Ghostbusters reboot when it's released. The explanation was clearly received well by his audience, who perfectly understood the reasoning behind him not reviewing a film he might otherwise be expected to see and talk about. Essentially, it boils down to his bias and how bad the trailer looks, to him and hundreds of thousands of others, meaning he thinks seeing it is pointless because he knows he's personally just gonna hate it. To summarize the problem in his own words,
"My hopes for a new Ghostbusters sequel kept getting compromised more and more until now, I don't want it anymore. If I were to go see this movie, I would be a sucker."
This is clearly a man who will not enjoy the film, for reasons beyond the film itself, although it does look like it's gonna suck all on its own too. Personally, I don't want him to get out of watching the Ghostbusters reboot that easily, because I want to see what it does to him. Beyond that though, when I watched his video, I didn't exactly hear anything shocking. His explanation was quite tame and very nerdy, as one would expect from the angry video game nerd, even when not in character. However, in response, outlet after outlet published a fresh volley of "everyone who doesn't like the Ghostbusters trailer is sexist even if they don't realize it" pieces, this time with added reference to Mr. Rolfe and his decision not to watch it. It would seem that entertainment writers have decided he is sexist and that everyone needs to know. Here are some of the articles he's been mentioned in. Donald Trump's sexist anti-Ghostbusters crusade goes mainstream. Written by Jen Yamato and published on the Daily Beast. Probably my favorite one for the title alone. Apparently James Rolfe and Cinemassacre are just picking up where Donald Trump left off, just like anyone else who's critical of what we've seen so far. Thinking the Ghostbusters trailers are shit puts us all on a team. We're all lumped together as part of the misogyny-flecked backlash, as she writes. And now the AVGN is emblematic of that sexism, for refusing to review it. On the 19th, The Atlantic tweeted to let us know that the sexist outcry against the Ghostbusters remake is getting louder, linking us to a much less bravely titled piece of writing by David Sims, telling us that it's impossible to know what Cinemassacre would have made of a Ghostbusters sequel starring Channing Tatum rather than Melissa McCarthy, but it's likely there wouldn't have been quite as much vitriol. Quite as much vitriol? Did this guy watch the same video as me? If there had been less vitriol, there'd be none. To my ears, there are only maybe 1 or 2 lines in there that would qualify as caustic. And he says this:
"Maybe the actual movie is better than the trailer. Maybe it's good. It's a possibility. I know I'm biased."
The movie could be good in spite of a shitty trailer. God damn, just burning holes in my speaker with that fire he's spitting. Even if the whole video had been a flat-out raw attack, I don't think any of his criticisms suggest sexism, but he softens, explains, and qualifies every blow. Even when he makes the comment that he thinks it's piggybacking on the name, he says maybe that's not the intention. So to me, the suggestion that he'd be less vitriolic if the actors had been male is totally ridiculous. In every way. What else have we got? In a piece on Wired written by Brian Raftery, we have a nice sarcastic approach to painting him as sexist. Whatever the reason he's chosen not to watch it, rest assured it has nothing to do with sexism. The Daily Dot took that approach too, but decided to be a bit more in your face with the title "Brave, not sexist movie critic refuses to watch the new Ghostbusters." And there is much, much more. Tweets and even videos too. And I have to wonder, what the fuck do these people hope is gonna happen? All these gender bandwagon accusatrons should be celebrating his decision. But as it stands, the combined voices of these dozens of people are saying one thing to James Rolfe: your choice to not watch or review it is sexist. Stop being a misogynerd and shit on these women. Fucking idiots. With how invested all these people are in the hatred directed at the Ghostbusters being down to gender, they should be overjoyed that an extremely biased critic won't be reviewing it, because they really need it to have at the very least an okay critical reception. So they can say, see, experts say it's not a bad film, so people must just hate it because they're women. But instead, we have these fuckwits shaming a man for saying he's not going to trash the film. Can you imagine him reading all these articles and just going, you know what, they're right. I'm gonna slate these bitches for equality. Attacks like these are always stupid, but here it is uniquely brain dead. Or at least that would be my view if I believed these writers meant anything they wrote. Because of course it's all purely just attention-seeking bollocks. I think at this point they must have a form letter saved to help them crank out pieces like this. If he hadn't said this and he ended up watching it and reviewing it and said it sucked, he'd still be a misogynist. If he watched it and said it was good, he'd probably still be a misogynist. Or maybe there'd be a few pieces about how the angry video game nerd finally overcame his misogyny. And of course then there'd be 30 more similar pieces if it caused any kind of stir and got attention. I can enjoy an unreasonable but nicely written and unique attack on someone, but we're not even getting that. And the simple, thoughtless, repetitive echoing we have instead is really starting to give me a headache. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.